The night was cold and silent, with only the wind brushing against the empty streets. Under a flickering streetlight sat Mara, a homeless woman wrapped in layers of worn-out clothes. She had spent the evening collecting scraps from bins, hoping to find something warm to eat. Her tired eyes looked up at the small apartment building across the road, where lights still glowed in a few windows. Suddenly, a faint smell of smoke filled the air. At first, Mara thought someone was burning trash nearby, but within seconds, she saw orange flames licking through the curtains of the second floor. She froze for a moment, her heart racing. People began shouting from the upper floors, doors slammed, and windows opened as smoke poured out. But among the chaos, a tiny cry pierced through, a child's scream from the second floor. Everyone was shouting for help, some recording on their phones, but no one moved closer. Mara dropped her bag, threw away her blanket, and ran toward the entrance. "Ma'am, don't go in," a man shouted, but she didn't even look back. Her bare feet hit the hot pavement as she pushed through the thick smoke and disappeared into the fire. Inside, the heat was suffocating. The walls crackled, and the ceiling creaked dangerously. Covering her mouth with her sleeve, Mara stumbled through the hallway, guided only by the faint sound of crying. "Hold on, sweetheart, I'm coming," she whispered through the choking smoke. In that moment, she wasn't a homeless woman anymore. She was someone's savior, someone brave enough to step where no one else dared. Mara coughed as she moved deeper inside, her vision blurred by smoke and tears. The air was so thick she could barely breathe. Walls glowed red, and every step she took felt like walking through a furnace. But she kept following the sound, that small, trembling voice calling for "Mommy." Finally, she found him. A little boy, no more than 5 years old, sat on the floor in the corner of a tiny bedroom. His cheeks were streaked with tears and ash. He clutched a burnt teddy bear so tightly his knuckles turned white. When Mara burst in, the child flinched, terrified. "It's okay, baby," she said, her voice shaky but gentle. "I'm here. We're getting out, okay?" She wrapped her old coat around him, covering his face from the smoke. The flames crackled closer. The door frame was already catching fire. There was no time to go back through the hall. Mara looked at the window, cracked but closed. She tried to open it, but the handle was too hot. She grabbed a piece of wood from the broken chair and smashed the glass, shielding the boy with her body as shards flew. The cold air hit her face, mixed with the roar of sirens outside. "Hold tight to me," she whispered. The boy clung to her neck. Mara climbed onto the window frame, praying the drop wasn't too far. People below screamed, "Jump! Jump! We'll catch you!" Taking one deep breath, she leapt, twisting midair to make sure the boy landed on her chest. They crashed onto a pile of trash bags, hard but alive. The crowd gasped, then rushed forward. The child cried, frightened but safe. Firefighters ran to help, pulling the boy away to check him. When they turned to thank the woman, she was already stumbling back, coughing, her hair singed, her clothes burned. She smiled faintly at the boy, then disappeared into the night before anyone could stop her. Mara staggered into a narrow alley beside the burning building, her lungs aching from the smoke. She leaned against a wall, coughing so hard her whole body trembled. Her coat was scorched, her palms bleeding from shattered glass, and her throat burned with every breath. Behind her, sirens wailed and voices shouted. The sound of water hoses and crackling flames filled the air. She could hear people crying. The mother, no doubt, but she didn't go back. She didn't want attention, questions, or praise. She just wanted to disappear. She sank down beside a dumpster, pulling her torn blanket from the ground where she had dropped it earlier. The warmth of the fire still reflected faintly on her face. For a brief moment, she smiled. The child was safe, and that was enough. At the same time, on the main street, chaos turned into awe. Firefighters carried the boy to the ambulance as his mother fell to her knees, sobbing. She saved him. The woman with the blanket, she ran inside. The mother cried, but no one knew her name. A police officer looked around, asking the crowd, "Where is she now?" Someone pointed toward the alley, but when they got there, she was gone. News reporters arrived moments later, cameras flashing, microphones ready. They wanted a hero on camera. But the hero had vanished into the night, leaving only the faint trace of smoke and silence behind. Mara walked for blocks, limping, her mind dizzy from exhaustion. When she finally reached an abandoned bus stop, she sat down and looked up at the sky. The stars shimmered faintly through the city haze. She whispered softly to herself, "At least he's alive, that's all that matters." Then she closed her eyes and drifted into a quiet, exhausted sleep, unaware that soon, someone powerful would be searching for her everywhere. The CEO's arrival. Screeching tires broke through the noise of sirens. A black luxury car stopped sharply near the scene. From it stepped Ethan Cole, a man known across the city, the young millionaire CEO of Cole Industries. But tonight, he wasn't a businessman. He was a father. He ran past the police line, ignoring the guards calling after him. His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear. "Where's my son? Where is Liam?" he shouted. A paramedic pointed toward the ambulance. Ethan rushed over, his breath catching as he saw his little boy sitting on the stretcher, wrapped in a silver rescue blanket. "Daddy!" the boy cried weakly. Ethan dropped to his knees and pulled him into his arms, holding him like he would never let go again. Tears streamed down Ethan's face, raw, uncontrolled emotion. He looked up at the paramedic. "Who saved him?" he demanded. The firefighter, still covered in soot, shook his head. "It wasn't us, sir. A woman went in before we even arrived. A homeless woman, I think. She disappeared right after bringing him out." Ethan blinked, stunned. "A homeless woman?" The firefighter nodded. "Yes, she risked her life without hesitation. We tried to find her. She vanished before anyone could even thank her." Ethan looked around desperately, scanning every corner, every alley, searching for a glimpse of his unknown savior. "Check the area," he ordered one of his security guards. "Find her. I don't care what it takes." But by the time they searched the nearby streets, the woman was gone, as if swallowed by the night. Ethan stood there, holding his son tightly, staring at the fading glow of the fire. He whispered to himself, voice trembling, "Whoever you are, I owe you everything." The city cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, but Ethan didn't care. All he could think of was the nameless woman who had risked everything for a child that wasn't hers. That night, he made a silent vow. He would find her, no matter how long it took. The search and reunion. 3 days had passed since the fire, 3 sleepless nights for Ethan Cole. His son, little Liam, was safe and recovering well, but Ethan's mind couldn't rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the image of that unknown woman, the one who had run into a burning building when everyone else stood frozen. He had everything, wealth, status, power, but now, none of it mattered. He just wanted to thank her. He sent his team to every hospital, every shelter, every corner of the city. Posters went up, offering a reward not in money, but in help. "Find the woman who saved my son. She deserves a home." The story spread everywhere. People called her the Fire Angel. But Mara didn't read newspapers. She lived quietly under an old bridge near the soup kitchen, nursing her burns with cold water from a public tap. She never thought the man she saved would come looking for her. Until one morning, a sleek black car stopped near the kitchen. Ethan stepped out, holding a photo printed from security footage. His eyes searched the crowd, and then he saw her. She sat on a bench, her hands wrapped in bandages, staring at the pigeons on the pavement. Despite the tiredness on her face, there was a strange calm in her eyes. He walked up slowly, his heart pounding. "Mara," he asked softly. She looked up, startled. "Do I know you?" Ethan knelt in front of her, a millionaire on his knees before a homeless woman. "You saved my son," he said, his voice breaking. "You walked into that fire when no one else did. I've been looking for you ever since." Her lips trembled. He's okay." Ethan smiled through tears. "He's perfect. Because of you." He opened a folder in his hand, an offer letter and a key. "I don't believe in charity," he said quietly. "I believe in repaying debts. You saved my world. Now let me give you one." For the first time in years, Mara's eyes filled with tears of hope. She reached out with shaking hands, touching the key like it was made of light. "Thank you," she whispered. Ethan helped her up, guiding her to the car. And as they drove away, Liam waved from the back seat, smiling at the woman who had become his real-life guardian angel. From that day forward, the homeless woman who saved a child was never homeless again. She had a name, a home, and a family who would forever remember her bravery.